மேடம் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடலாங்களா? விமலாராணி மேடம்.
Hello.
Senthil Kumar, I'm Laundry.
Sir.
How are you?
Fine, sir. How are you, sir?
Okay, thank you. I'm also fine.
Thank you, sir.
Ma'am, Vimalarani ma'am.
Sir. Okay,
start பண்ணலாம் மேடம். ஓகே.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sir, Senthil Kumar sir, mandatory கிடையாதுன்னு சொன்னாங்க சார். சார் மேடம் கன்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணிட்டேன்.
Okay.
Okay. So, good morning to all. This is the second session of 4-day online FLFTP. So today is the ANN day. So last session we see introduction to ANN by Engineer Karthik. This session we are going to see various ANN algorithm by Dr. Senthil Kumar sir. So afternoon session so application to ANN by Dr. Rajeshwari. So this is the very knowledge occurring day. So about ANN. Now I introduce the session expert. Dr. Senthil Kumar sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Electrical Engineering, NIT Patna. He received the BE degree in Electrical and Electronics Engineering and ME degree in Power System from Anna University in 2008 and 2012 respectively. He received a PhD degree in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from the NIT Trichy and Tamil Nadu. His research work have been published in peer-reviewed journals, IEEE Transaction of Power Delivery, IET Generation, Transmission and Distribution, and the Electrical Power Components and Systems. He also worked in power industry for 5 years as engineer in India as well as abroad. He received POSOCO Power System 2008 from Delhi, IIT Delhi for his PhD research work. His research interests include power system production, the application of signal processing techniques, and artificial intelligence techniques in power systems. Now I hand over the session to Dr. Senthil Kumar sir. I welcome you, sir. Please, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning to all. I am M. Senthil Kumar, Assistant Professor at Department of Electrical Engineering in NIT Patna. So now I like to give a lecture on convolutional neural network. So it's one of the deep neural network. My presentation contains the following topic. First one is introduction, convolutional neural network, the description, then the convolution operation, how it's performed for image processing application. Then we will discuss about the CNN, the convolutional neural network architecture, the training method, what they have used for train the CNN, and the application of the CNN, where they have implemented. So mostly it is used for image processing application. So along with it has been used for some electrical engineering application. It's not exactly electrical engineering, for one from the biomedical application, another one from electrical pure power system electrical applications. So that is my work. So that one I want to discuss over here. Then finally, if the time permits, we will discuss some exercise on MATLAB. So these are the things we are going to discuss today, the second session. So I like to give the introduction from the beginning. So obviously you would have seen that the basics in the previous lecture. So anyway, it's good to start with the basics of this. So all are coming under this deep learning, neural network, machine learning, all are coming under a single family of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a technology using which we can create the intelligence system that can human intelligence. So for example, automated car which can perform like a human. human. So it can interpret and it can act and make the decision according to the given situation. So these are the examples. You can see that these are the examples we have seen in our day-to-day life. That is Sri. That is it is an app. You can see it in the Apple mobile phone. Then autopilot in the aeroplane. Then chatbots. So nowadays, when you go for some customer care application, there we can find that chatbot. So there you can convey your grievances or your question. So we will get the appropriate the answer from the intelligent machines. So it can act as a human machine. So it can interact with the human according to your questions. So I like to give you an example, like in the movie Robo. So a robo, it can make a robo, right? It can make the robo, and as obviously the film has shown some extracted way, that is, it has a feeling. So it has a feeling that is not attained as of now, but in future it may be attained. So then self-driving cars. So these are things will be called as self-driving cars. These are the things will be called as artificial intelligence. So the artificial intelligence is going to act as a human behavior intelligence, right? Then machine learning. What is machine learning? Machine learning is a subset of the artificial intelligence. So it's a field of artificial intelligence which enable to machine to learn. It may make the machine to learn from the past data or experience without explicitly programmed. So no need to update the program often. So it will learn itself by experience. So for example, nowadays the example is given here. We are using YouTube, right? YouTube, Facebook, all those things. For example, if you search something in Google, so next time when you go for the YouTube, the same kind of things it may be pop up when you start typing the first letters, right? This one. So actually they are tracking us. So for example, I try to buy a product. I searched what is the product. Okay, what is the product? What are the products available in the market? Then when I go to Facebook or some other YouTube or Amazon, if I open Amazon, so the related products is coming up and showing us frequently. So it is in what does mean? They are following up. And another one is that the flight fares are random, right? Random fixed is random way. That is initially there is, if you are going to book the flight for 1 month before, then the flight cost will be less. So if you open, you can check it now itself, just randomly you can check it. So if you price a check within 2 days or next day, there will be the rate will be keep on increasing. So it depends upon how many persons searching the service between the two cities. So if demand is more, then they will start increasing the price. So these things, they are tracking us. So using this learning, so machine learning. So another one is deep learning. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning. So it is a one kind of neural network. It is a one kind of neural network which has a multi-layer, so that it can learn the highly nonlinear problems. So these are the things we are going to focus on, the deep learning. So convolutional neural network coming under the deep learning. So I like to start from the beginning. So that is artificial intelligence, very, very simple model. So artificial neural network, it is an information processing system that mimics the certain performance characteristics of biological neural system of our brain. So it is very similar to our biological. So let us say some things about a biological brain, how it works. It has actually, this may be discussed in the previous one. So anyway, I like to refresh and we'll get into that, the convolutional neural network. So you know that each neuron has a nucleus, then it has the dendrite. Dendrite receives the signal from the other neurons. Okay, so the other neuron then will produce the output that will be given through this axon. So we'll have that multiple terminals which will be connected to the further dendrites, other neurons dendrites. So in between we have the synapses. The synapses will determine that how way this information should be passed from this action to the next level. So this is called okay, this is going to determine whether the information is required to process further network neurons or not. So the input is received from the other neuron, then they are this process, so they may have some defined functions over here, then output will be given to the further level. So the same way we have modeled an artificial neural network. So so let us consider these are the inputs. So these are the inputs. It's coming through the synaptics. So the dendrites receive the inputs from other neurons through this synaptics, that is a weight. So here, if there is a strong connection, then the information will pass through these dendrites and will be reaching this nucleus. So that is very similar to this weight over here. So the weight vector will be multiplied with the input, then we have the significant weightage. If you have the significant weightage, then the information will be passed to the next process. That is what you are going to do in the nucleus over here. Okay. So these are the things, the input side, right? Then additionally, we have the bias. So bias always used to make the system to learn. Okay, make the system to learn the preconditions. Right? So it has the flexibility to learn when it doesn't have the low value of inputs. So that's the role of bias. Then we are coming to the process function. So what you are doing, first we are summing up the inputs received from the all inputs, then we are applying some function. So here we have taken a simple function. If the summation reached above the threshold value, then your output will be 1. If it is summation less than some threshold value, so the output will be 0. So the threshold function it can be drawn like represented like a step function, right? So threshold here set as 0. If summation above the 0, then the output will be 1. So if it is below 0, the output will be 0. Right. So now this is the base things to develop the perceptron neural network. So here we can see that the input nodes will be called as input node or neurons. We have multiple input neuron nodes. Then will be connected to the neuron, that is our output neuron, through the weight, the distinct weight. Each one has the distinct weight. Then similarly we have the bias. So this is also one of the weight. So will be used for training purpose. Okay. So the perceptron neural network can solve linearly separable problems, but it may not be able to solve a non-linear separable problem. Okay. So for this, we have proposed the multi-layer structure, where we have the hidden layer. So hidden layer. First, we have the input, where we have the input neurons, that will be called as the input layer. The output layer, where we are getting the output, that will be called as output layer. In between, we have introduced in the input layer, such a way that we can have the better learning for nonlinear problems. So non-linear separable problems, it can be solved using this multi-layer network. So I have taken as a simple network. So this is very similar. The first layer is very similar to the previous one, the input neuron, where the input is given. Then the neurons in the first layer, the input layer, will be connected to the neurons in each neuron in the hidden layer, okay, through the weight, respective weight. So it is fully connected network. Similarly, the hidden layer, each neuron in the hidden layer will be connected to the neurons in the output layer connected fully. So each neurons will be connected fully network. So it has the weight matrix it has a distinct weight matrix. So here, apart from this one, there is another distinction. Here you can see that the function, earlier we have used the step function. That is, here we are going to use a sigmoidal active, which makes them to suitable for nonlinear learning. How to make the nonlinear learning? So in the previous one, if there is a small changes in the weight, that may push into this, so 0 output to the high output. But in here you can see that if there is a small changes in the summation, so that may makes the small changes in the output. So that will not put you into the two different saturation levels from 0 to 1. So that will make as to make it as suitable for the nonlinear learning. Okay. So this is the simple feed-forward neural network. So usually the feed-forward network will be trained using the back propagation algorithm. It is an algorithm. So what they are going to do, they will calculate the error at the end. So the error between the output obtained at the node, output node, and the target and the desired target. So they will calculate the error. This error, based on this error, they will calculate the error updation. So according to the gradient descent function. So this error will be propagated in the backwards direction. So in the previous we have seen that the information flowing in the forward direction, the error is propagating through in the feedback. Okay, the backward direction. So that's why it's name called as back propagation training using the gradient descent algorithm. So here objective is to minimize this gradient function is to minimize the error between these two, that is output obtained at each node with respect to the corresponding desired output. So what you are doing the training method, we are going to adjust each weight, okay, according to the error produced over here, error produced in the output. So the error will be adjusted first over this layer, that is hidden layer to output layer. The error at here, right? The same error will be propagated through this hidden layer, and finally will be correcting the weight over here, that is input layer to hidden layer. So this is the algorithm, back propagation algorithm. These are the basic things. Now we are getting into the deep learning. So the deep learning will always suggested when you have the highly nonlinear processing data. Okay, so if you want to extract the features, okay, then if you want to apply for some complicated problems, then the deep neural networks are suggested. So we will have the multiple layers in between. Usually we from 6 to, usually will be more than 6. Typically more than, if we have more than 1, then it will be called as deep neural. So in the previous exam, we have seen that there is only one hidden layer, right? If you have more than one hidden layer, then will be called as deep learning. Okay, so it can be used to for highly nonlinear data processing, right? So the problem associated with this, actually, it may arise the vanishing gradient problem. So since it has a lot of networks in between, so the error produced here when you travel back propagation, so it may be reduced significantly, right? So that will make the system to learn, okay, with time constraint. Right. So now we are going to take this deep learning network for image recognition problem. So here you have noted that, so in the deep neural network, each layers is connected to next layer in fully connected way. That is, each neurons in the first layer is connected to each neuron in the second layer. So fully connected, right? So similarly, we can say that each neuron in the layer will be connected to the next layer neurons. Each neurons, so completely, right? So the network structure will be greater. So the weight parameter will be great. Since if we have more than 2, obviously it's going to increase the weight matrix. So it is going to have the huge number of parameters which is going to be tuned when you have the deep neural networks, right? So now let us take the image processing application. Now I am going for face recognition or human recognition, right? So the picture is given. So if you want to apply this deep neural network, so what we'll do first, we will take the pixels, that is representing the images by the matrix form. So for sake of simplicity, I have taken only 9 rows and 5 columns. So this will be actually Ficus stability I have arranged, but if you take the real picture, it will be in 200s, okay, more than 200 something, okay, more than 200 pixels. So 9 cross 5, so we'll have the 45, total pixel is 45. So what you will do, you will first arrange in the single column vector. The first row will be arranged here, the first row. So second row like this, sorry, first column, second column, third column, like this. We'll arrange fifth column over here, right? So we'll be arranged a single column. So all images will be arranged single column, then will be processed. Here you have noted that. So we are correlating the pixel, that is the head pixel with the tau and head with the neck equally. So the correlation between neck and head and correlation between neck and tau are treated equally. That is, it can be said that which are, so the input treats input pixel which are far apart and closer together, exactly same footing. So the treatment, how we are treating the images are same. There is no discrimination. So obviously, when you go for image classification, you should give importance for the spatial section. That is, which is nearby, that should be correlated together. So weightage should be for this correlation should be high. So weightage between this head and tau should be less. So that will be tuned after doing many iteration. After doing many iteration, will be done in this network. So, but it will take long time, and accuracy may not be reached more than 98%. So I like to give an example from the popular movie from Tamil. That is actually released in the all India. The Viswrubhum movie, you would have seen that in the first half there is an interesting fight sequence, right? So there, the Kamalakashan, the actor, will be caught by the villain group. So they will, and the villain asks the subordinates to send the photographs of him. At first look, he may not be able to recognize his face, but we will look at the partial section of his face, then he is able to recognize his face. So this is one of the best example how we are recognizing the images. So we need to correlate the pixel which is closer to other, right? So which is able to make him to recognize the picture. So this is known as a facial correlation. So the same technique, same approach will be used for image recognition in the convolutional neural network. So what you are going to do here? The input signal, the image signal, you can say that image file can be represented in the matrix form. Which each cell represents the pixel value of the images. Okay, like we have seen the previous example, we can be divided in the row and column. So then we have the definite value for each pixels, right? So the input neurons will represent the input neuron will represent the value of each pixel point. So in the previous deep neural network structure, so we had the input neuron in the column wise. Here we are maintaining the same structure. So the images will be in the matrix form. So the number of rows and columns may not be equal. It can be anything. So there is not an issue. So whatever the number of columns, but it will be in matrix form. So n cross m will be matrix form. So what we'll do, we'll go for correlation. We'll go for correlation between. The spatial structure. So we'll take some portion of the input section images. So that will be processed. Further. So that will be known as a receptive field. So only particular portion is taken out. Then this will be multiplied the weight matrix. So just we are going to do the multiplication over here. This element wise multiplication. This 1, 1 of this receptive matrix will be multiplied 1, 1 of the weight matrix. Similarly, 1, 2 will be multiplied with 1, 2 of the weight matrix. 1 comma 2 of this receptive field will be multiplied with 1 comma 2 of the weight matrix. Similarly, we can do the elements wise multiplication. So that will give the elements result, right? Finally, we can go for the summation. So the result will be in the matrix form. Result again will be in the matrix form. Then finally we can sum up all. Okay, we can sum up all that will be represent the first position of this one. So the size of the, see, you can see the structure, the output. Structure of the output, the structure of the output, the correlation output also will be in the matrix form. So the size of this matrix depends upon what's the size of your input matrix and the weight matrix. So the receptive field matrix size, should be equal to a weight matrix. Then only we can perform the elements wise multiplication. Right? So the receptive field size will be equal to the matrix size. So receptive field is nothing but we are taking certain portion of the image. So that will be multiplied with the weight matrix. So that will produce only one output, single output in the second stage, that is next stage, the neuron. So this is also this will be called as second layer. This is the first layer neuron, first layer input neuron. So this is the second layer. So we can, in the conventional way, we can say that it is a hidden layer. So here also the neurons will be represented in the matrix form. So whereas if it is in the conventional neural network method, it will be represented the vector, right? All right. So now, so what you are going to do next stage level? So we are going to move in the next stage. So next step, what we'll do? We'll move this receptive filter. So we have done this portion, then we can move to one step, then we can capture the same dimension, that is 5 cross 5. So the weight dimension is 5 cross 5. So we are going to take the 5 cross 5, same dimension 5 cross 5, that will be taken as the second receptive field. So we have skipped the first column, this one portion we have done already. So now we are moving it, right? So the movement can be any step. So it depends upon the user and what accuracy you want. Okay, then we can decide the steps. So here I have considered only one step. So after moving one step ahead, then I can take this receptive field from the image. Okay, then this will be multiplied with the same weight matrix. The weight matrix remains same. There is no change. So now we can say that, so what is this weight matrix? Weight matrix remains same. So earlier, whereas if it is the deep neural or conventional neural network, we had a dedicated weight matrix between the each neuron in the first layer and each neuron in the second layer. Each neuron in the first layer and each neuron in the second layer. We have dedicated weight, right? Here, what are we going to do? We are going to use the same weight. So it is known as shared weight. It is called as shared weight. The same weight will be used for all movement over the image. Okay. So then there will be a multiplication, element-wise multiplication. So okay, that will be produce the result. So that will be stored over here. The second, that is 1, 2. So 1 represents that the row, 2 represents the column number. So first row movement, okay, then second column movement. Okay, this one will be 1, 1. So this is the first position, right? First position. So like this, if you move further, so second step, third step, like this, it may reach this end. This extreme end may reach this extreme end of this image 1. Then we'll go for one step movement in the row. So it will be selected like this. Next step. Then we'll be moving in the row wise. After reaching this end, then we'll be moving to the first stage and the next step in the row wise. Then we'll move like this. We'll change the column. Then like this will be go. So at the end we may reach this position, right? So finally we'll produce this result. So then we'll have the complete matrix output. So it is to look like a a convolution operation which is performed in the signal processing. So we know familiar about the convolution operation, right? So convol means that roll together. Take two functions, roll together, then will produce some output. So the convolution is an integral measuring of how much two functions overlap as one pass through over the others. So now you can see that. So the blue function is a G function, F is the other function. So now we are going to find the convolution between those two functions. Then what will do? So it will roll over the F. The G function rolled over above the G function, that will produce the convolution output. So the convolution output is given in the green. It is given in the green. So when you move with respect to time, then there will be a variation in the output. So that is known as the convolution output with respect to time. So we can say that convolution is the way of meshing two functions by multiplying them. So that's why the same kind of operation we are going to perform in the image processing. That's why it is called as convolutional neural network. That's why it's called as convolutional neural network. So let us see that the structure of convolutional neural network. The convolutional neural network is one kind of deep neural network designed for processing structured array of data as an image. Okay, structured array of data. So one example is the images. Image file will be in the structured data. So row and column number. So similarly, if you have some other data apart from this one, you may have some other data. For example, signal processing is a one-dimensional, right? It is a one-dimensional. So that can be represented two-dimensional after applying the frequency transformation technique. So it may be in the two-dimensional frequency versus time. Then we can apply the CNN, convolutional neural network. So it can be applied for any structure with this, where is properly structured, that is arranged in the proper way, row and column. It can be applied. It's not only for image processing application. So it uses the spatial structure to classify. It is using the spatial structure. In earlier, what they have done, so we connect given the all pixel value, then we correlated all together. So without any logic, we have correlated the tau and head, right? Tau and head. Without any correlation, we are doing it. So, but anyway, the machine will learn, but will not, if you give some pre-processed way, then the learning process will be very easy. So that's what we are doing here. Convolution, what we are doing. So we are making it to correlate only the spatial structure, the small space. We will take the pixel value, then we are passing it. So the convolution process uses the three basic idea. One is local receptive field. So what we discussed, that is, we are taking the certain portion of the image file. The size should be equal to the weight matrix. So weight matrix sometimes will be called as filter also. Sometimes it may be represented as a kernel, right? Sometimes it represents as kernel. So another one is shared weight concept. Shared weight. We are not going to have the fully connected network. So in the previous thing, that is conventional deep neural network or artificial neural network. So what we had a fully connected network. So weight matrix size will be huge size. So that can be eliminated using the shared weight structure. The third one is pooling operation. So the purpose of pooling is to minimize the size of the image. There is no interesting things over here. So that will reduce the size of the matrix. Right. Now come to that process structure. So let us see first one. So this is the first input image. So it has the weight, it has the value for row and column wise, that is pixel value. So that will be processed through the shared weight and local perceptive process, convolution performance. So convolution performed. So after convolution performed, so we will get the feature map that will be known as feature map. So the feature map If you apply one filter, we will have the one feature map. So we have seen that previous one, we apply only one filter. So like this, you may apply many filters, okay, then we'll be having the many feature map. So a filter is nothing but weight. So in earlier case, we have used only one filter, that is weight, then we got only one, the first one, let us consider the first one. So similarly, we can have the different weight matrix, then we can do the same process, then we have the second feature. So like that, we can extract different features that can be known as depthness of this feature map. That is depthness of the feature map, we can say the depthness in the convolutional layer. So next stage will be applying the pooling layer, pooling function. So pooling is nothing but reducing. So we can use some defined function. We are going to discuss in detail. So we can use some defined function to apply this pooling. So just we are going to reduce the size. Okay, usually the image processing size will be, image file size will be 200 in terms of 200, about 200, right? So if you apply this pooling one, then the size of the matrix will be keep on reducing when you reach this final layer. So that is the ultimate things we want. So at the last, after reaching, we have the output feature map as a matrix, So that will be flattened as a single vector. Again, we are changing into the conventional way. Okay, again, we are changing the conventional. Before processing before determining the final output, so will be converted into fully connected network. So this will be flattened. So whatever the dimension we have here, that will be flattened, will be represented in the single column. So then we will have the fully connected network. So this PPT will give you a brief about this structure. Now we are going to see one by one how the convolution is done, then how the pooling function is applied, then how we are flattening it, and what steps we'll be carrying over in the classification function. So let us discuss one by one. So I like to start from the image file. So usually the image file will be represented by the colors, right? It will be colors. So in the previous example, it is a black and white. So it will be in colors. So the color picture can be represented as a three two-dimensional matrix. That is, one is for red, another one is for green intensity, and the third one is for blue color intensity. So any color can be represented with the help of three color combination. So it can be represented in mathematical form. It can be represented like this. A color is equal to A is a coefficient of red color plus B is a coefficient of green plus C into blue color. So this is a coefficients. So this will be represented as a matrix for each pixel position. So let us take this position. So like this, we can represent the pixel value for corresponding this one. So first matrix will be R matrix. There, for each pixel value will be stored. Each will be pixel value be represented as intensity. Okay, the intensity. So any color can be represented this standard RGB. Okay, RGB space. So now you can see that how it will be represented. So image can be represented as a matrix, that is two-dimensional matrix n cross m. So the size can be anything. It depends upon the size of the picture. But obviously we will have the three matrices to represent a single figure. To represent the single figure, we have three color matrices. Each entry in the matrices that give the values of pixel. Here we are seeing that normalized value, that is 0 to 1. So obviously it will be typically it will be represented from 0 to 256, 0 to 250 range. Okay, here what is shown is here normalized value here. So it's a red color matrix, green color matrix, and blue color matrix. So that we can see the image file. Okay, so if you load in the MATLAB, you can see that how the figure is represented. So now we have a three matrix for a single picture, right? So now if you want to make the convolution layer, so obviously the filter weights also should be equal to number of matrix over here to represent, right, this one. So single filter, yes, single filter will have 3 matrices is corresponding to red, green and blue. Red, green, blue. So each weight matrix are distinct. There is no, these are not same. The values are not same. All are distinct values. So we can, if you are saying that I have one filter, this weight matrix, so that will have the red matrix, green matrix and blue matrix. So this will be convolved with the corresponding red, green and blue matrix which represent the figure, So the convolution will be performed like dot products between the local receipt field. Local receipt field means we are going to take certain portion and the filter. So we are going to perform the convolution. I'm sorry for the interruption. 2 seconds. Give me a good 2 second break. So now let us see the operation, convolution operation, how it's performed. So here we should be very clear that in the first stage we'll have the filter. Okay, the single filter will have the 3 matrix which is corresponding to RGP. Like this, you may have n number of filters, right? So each filter will have this RGP matrix. Each matrix are distinct. So you have unique values. They are not same. That is RGP are not same one. So now come to for convolution operation. So I like to give this animation. So how will be performed? The convolution how will be performed? So let us consider the input matrix size is 5 cross 5. For sake of simplicity, I have taken this as simple values 5 cross 5. So and 3 dimension, that is represent the RGP. So first one is red, green and blue. So the intensity of each color is given here according to the pixel position. So now we have the filter size. So the filter size same, but the values are not same for each colors, red, green, blue, right? So we have 3 cross 3 and 3 colors, right? Now we are going to perform the convolution operation. So first we have to select the receptive field. So the receptive field size should be equal to the your filter weight matrix size. So now we can see that first you have to take first position, first row, first column. We have to select the 3 things that will be convolved with, that will be this all 3 cross 3 matrix will be convolved with our weight matrix that will produce the outputs. So element wise multiplication, we have to perform the element wise multiplication and we have to sum up. So this equations given here, summation. So this bias will be added at the end. So right now we have produced corresponding to the only red, first position. Now next stage, so we have to move. We are moving in the column wise. So second column, first 3 rows and second to 4th row. Second, third and 4th row. It's covered. So you will have the 3 cross 3 matrix which is equal to the size of the filter one, right? Filter matrix. So now we have to perform the convolution operation. So that will produce the output over here. Then we have to move in the right side. Then we have to perform the convolution operation between this selected receptive field and the weight matrix. So like this we'll be moving. So we have reached the extreme end of the column. Then we have moved to the next row. So second row, third row and 4th row will be involved along with the first and second, third columns. Right. We have formed the 3 cross 3 receptive field that will be convolved with the weight matrix that will produce the corresponding output. So that will be stored over here, right? So like this, we keep on move. So then we are going to the row wise movement. Then we have reached the final position. So we got the result as 3 cross 3. for first one. Same way we can perform the convolution for the other colors. So that will produce the same size matrix. Now we have a 3 cross 3 output for each colors, right? So now what we are going to do? We are going to perform the summation. So element wise summation. This will be summed up here. This will be summed up. So now you can see that summation result 40 plus 6, 46 minus 12. So 34. So now we have to consider this bias. How to consider the bias? So size of the bias will be 1. So it's corresponding to the number of filters. So right now, as of now, we have only one filter. Okay, only one filter. This is one filter. All together will be called as one filter. Right. You have only one filter, so it has only one bias. So after summing of all this, okay, convolution result of 3 colors will be biased. So will be added with the bias. So that will be the final result matrix. So 35. So 34. So here we are seeing the 40 plus 6, 46 minus 12, 34 plus 1. It is 35. So like this, we can perform the summation, okay, element wise. So finally, we will produce the one single matrix. So the image has a single image has three two-dimensional matrix, that is RGP matrix. So that will be convolved with a filter weight that also has the distinct 3 weight matrix corresponding to RGP. So final result will be summed up together. They are getting the final value as a single two-dimensional matrix. Right. So we got the result for first stage, that is convolution result. So that is summation. We have performed summation. So as we have the activation function in the neural network, here also we are going to have the activation function. So you can use the activation function. Okay, you can use the activation function. So let me discuss this one. Okay, at the end. So okay, I will tell you that activation function later. So you can apply the activation function after finding the summation result. Right. Now let us move this zero padding. There is another process, zero padding. So zero will be appended along with this row and column, If you are representing that padding is 1, so it may be a row. Okay, it may be a row. Then we have append 2 rows in the top and bottom. So that is known as padding 1. So we are saying that padding 1 at column wise. So we have to add 2 zeros columns in the starting as well as end. So why we have to use it? So that we can have the importance of this corner values. So you have noticed that while doing this convolution operation, the center portion is convolved many times when compared with the values at the corner. So if you add some zeros around this actual matrix, then we can have the significant weightage for the border values also. So zero padding will be used to give the importance for the values around the border. Another one is we can retain this matrix size as same as the input matrix. For example, your matrix is 5 cross 5. Input matrix is 5 cross 5. But after performing the convolution with 3 cross 3 weight matrix, so what is the result you got? The result is 3 cross 3. So if you add this 0, then the result will be 5 cross 5. Matrix. So that we can see that now we are going to see the generalized formula for spatial dimension for this convolution operation. So now you can see that 5 cross 5 with appended with 1 padding, so row as well as column. So that will give the result of 5 cross 5. So the I stands for input matrix, W stands for width of the input matrix. Similarly, H stands for height of this input matrix. So the P stands for padding. Here right now we have only one padding, so it is around here. S stands for stride. So that is movement. How much step we are moving for each convolution operation, right? So this similarly, the filter weight matrix has a two-dimensional. One is width and height. So another one is 3. 3 represent this colors. Okay, 3 corresponding to 3 colors. So width and height. So most of the cases, the width and height will be same. So and rarely it may be in the different dimensions. Then you have to apply the appropriate formula with respect to this. So now we are going to arrive the formula for this generalized formula for the output matrix size. So input matrix size the size of W in H into 3, right, which represents the two-dimensional for corresponding to RGB intensity. So filter size is the same thing. It's a for three-dimensional with the two-dimensional matrix for 3 colors. Stride is step movement in the convolution operation. Zero padding. How much zero padding we have added over here? So zero padding is actually it is different for row as well as column. So sometimes you may add only row side, sometimes you may add only column. For example, if you have the matrix like input matrix like 3 cross 5. So I like to make it as a equal dimension. Okay, square matrix. Then what I can do? So I can add the padding over here, the top and bottom, so that I can have 5 cross 5 matrix. So this is the advantage of adding zero padding. Right. So right now let us see the generalized formula. So convolution output width will be equal to the input matrix width minus filter weight matrix matrix weight plus 2 times of padding. So here there is that 1p. It is padding is 1, but if it is row, then will be added over here as well as here, the top and bottom. So we cannot add only one question. So both sides we have to add. Row means both sides we have to add. So that's why it is getting multiplied with 2. Okay, so that will be divided by s, number of steps, plus 1. Finally you have to add the plus 1. So now you can apply this formula, you can find it. So now CW, we can find it. IW is actually here, what do you have? 5, right? IW, that is in the actual input matrix is 5, right? 5 minus filter weight with 3 plus 2 into padding. 2 into padding is 1, right? So 2. So 5 minus 3 plus 2. So 5 minus 3, 2 plus 2. So we'll get 4. So divided by S. Yes, what is the S value? S is 1. So we have the 4 divided by 1. We have the 4, right? So additionally, you have to add 1. The final number is 1. So we'll give the value of 5. So this is a generalized formula. You can apply. You can find the dimension of the matrix of convolution operation. So now we are going for we are going to discuss depthness of the convolution operation. So we have seen that. So in the various convolution operation, we have seen that only one filter weight. Similarly, you can have the k number of filter weights. So the depthness equal to k number of. So one filter weight will have the two-dimensional 3-color representation matrix. 3-color representation matrix, right? 3-color, one filter. This is correspond to one filter. Right, one filter. So that will give one feature map, the first one feature map. Similarly, if you apply different one, second filter, you can have the same thing, two-dimensional 3-color representation matrix, so that we can extract the second feature. So like that, we can have that distinct matrix, that is weight matrix, so that we can extract the distinct features in the convolution layer. So depthness is up to you, your choice. It's similar to the convolution layer, neurons in the convolution layer. You can increase. So neurons in the feature map, it's not your control. You cannot decide it. It is based on the input matrix size. That we cannot control, but you can control the depthness, you can have the control. So you can adjust the depthness in order to improve the accuracy, right? So this is the first stage of convolution operation. So we have performed the summation up to summation. So next thing is we have to apply the activation function. So this is what we received at the summation function. So two-dimensional matrix, okay, after performing the convolution operation for single matrix, weight matrix, single weight matrix. So we receive the output. So now we are going to apply the function. So usually they will use the rectified linear unit, REL unit. This rectified linear units. So this is the function rectified units. That is going to give the same value, so linear value. So if x is equal to 7, the output also will be 7. But if it is negative value, then it will give 0. So that's why it's called as rectified. So we know that rectifier functions, so that will filter out the negative part, right? Similarly, it's going to filter out the negative part, it's going to give the positive value as it is. So whatever the value in the positive, that will be available in the output. So it is known as rectifier. So it helps us to eliminate the vanishing gradient problem. So obviously in the neural network training, you have faced two kind of problems. One is vanishing and exploiting gradient problem. So exploiting means the error will be amplified in great scale, so that will be changing the large scale changes in the weight matrix. So another one is vanishing gradient problem. Vanishing means that, so the error matrix, the error produced in the output when you propagate from the backward direction, so that will be decreasing in the order, so that significance may be reduced when you reach the end of the neural network, in the first neural network. First layer. Right. So that can be eliminated with help of this rectifier linear unit. It can eliminate only vanishing gradient problem. So still the exploitation problem may occur over here. Right. So whatever the summation function we are getting here, then will be applied the activation function. Right. Now we are going for pooling function. So pooling is the function which can be applied to minimize the size of so just reduce the size of the matrix. That's the objective. So what we sampling, you know, as downside. Usually the pooling will be applied immediately to the convolution operation. So convolution layer will perform the convolution operation. Then the result of the convolution operation after applying the activation function. So this will be applied. Then we'll have the pooling operation. So the pooling operation. So we can choose any one of this. That is maximum, average, L2 nums. Usually they will use the maximum one. So what you're doing, what you're going to do? So we'll fix the dimension of the pooling. So we can fix 2 cross 2 matrix. So we'll take maximum of these 2 cross 2 matrix. So what is the maximum value? 25. So 25. So it is noted here. Similarly, we'll go for next movement. So in the pooling operation, usually the stride, that is movement in the step, will be equal to size of the matrix, pooling matrix. So here pooling matrix is 2 cross 2. So size of the step movement also will be in the 2 step. Okay, if it is 3 cross 3, obviously you should go for 3 step movement, right? So 2 cross 2. Again, the movement depends upon the stride movement depends upon the dimension of your input matrix. So it should be divisible, right? When you have seen the previous one, so the height of this, that is width of the input matrix minus width of the filter matrix plus padding divided by S. So S is the stride. So that should be divisible one. So you have to cause S while selecting the stride, that is step movement. So whether we are getting the integer value. So it should be integer value, right? After division, you should get the integer value, then only can represent the matrix. Otherwise, it is meaningless. Right. Now we can see that. So here the maximum function is applied. So we'll keep on get this maximum values from the 4 cross 4 matrix. We'll get 2 cross 2 matrix. 2 cross 2 matrix. So it is essential to index, essentially to index the maximum, where you are getting maximum value. For example, this first step, we got 25 from this position, right? So that's what taken up for next step, right? Their next step, we have skipped these values. We have skipped these values. Actually, these two values are almost close, but we have skipped when you apply the maximum function. So we are taking only one. So while applying the back propagation training algorithm, we should know that which one is picked up, which one is forward for next step. So then only the corresponding network can be traced, and we can do the weight adjustment over there. Okay. So actually, this method is not preferred since it has the problem of avoiding this certain values. Even though it's very close, it picks only the maximum value. So we can go for LNORM at average. So LNORM is the most preferred one. So that the matrix weightage, whatever you are getting output over here. So that will be conveyed, that will be transferred to the next level, So weightage should be transferred to the next level. It should not be skipped. You should not skip the values of this. So it is preferred. These methods are mostly preferred. So the maximum may skip this one. So when you apply the maximum one, you should know that the position, which one is taken for the further processing. So that will be back propagation can be applied easily. Now let us see the size of the pooling matrix. Okay, size of the pooling output. So how we can determine? The same way, the same kind of formula. So CW, that is convolution layer output width minus pooling. Okay, so we have seen that pooling. So it is a 2 cross 2. So 2 cross 2. So 2, this is 2, this is 4, right? Divided by stride, that is step movement in the pooling. So we have moved in the 2 steps. So finally you have to add 1. So 4 minus 2 will get 2, divided by 2 is 1. So 1 plus 1, 2. So final result is 2 cross 2. The same way. Since in the height and width are same, then we'll get the same dimension in the height and width. So another one is depth. So we have seen that depthness. So depthness will not be modified according to the pooling operation. Depthness will be maintained. Same depthness will be maintained. So now we are going to see that overall operation altogether, okay, like one set of convolution operation and pooling. So this is the input file. So we have input file, image file. So that can be represented as the input volume, input map volume. That each one represents the RGP. So RGP matrix or GP matrix. So that will be convolved with corresponding kernel volume. Kernel is the other name of the weight or filter. Okay, kernel volume. So why it is given as a volume? So here also we have the each filter, we have the 3-color representation, as well as the depthness. We have the depthness. So that will extract the distinct features over here. So the feature map depthness is equal to number of filters. Depthness equal to number of filters applied over here. So for example, your filter depthness equal to 10. So the depthness of this feature map will be equal to 10, right? So for example, here we have the 3-color representation. So each filter, the depthness. So each filter, 1 to 10 filters we have, right? 1 to 10 filters, right? So the from first to 10 filters, we have the 3-color representation matrix. Okay, 3-color representation matrix. So after convolution, what we will do? We will add the bias. So after convolution operation, we are doing the bias. That is A. First step is A. That is convolution. That is summation we are performing. Then we have the bias. Adding the bias. After adding this summation is adding the all colors matrix, right? So then we add the bias. Then we'll apply the activation function. So that is the final output C stage. Okay, A, B, C. There are 3-stage application. So convolution, add bias, then activation. All together will be called as a convolution layer operation, right? So we got the feature map. So it is the convolution layer output. It's convolution layer output. Then immediately we'll apply the pooling operation. So this is the pooled volume output. So we'll apply the pooling operation over here, then we'll get the equivalent volume, equivalent depth. So 10 value, for example, 10. So depthness will be remain 10, but this two-dimensional matrix dimension will be vary. Like, so the n cross m, for example, here you may have the n cross m. Okay, here it may be reduced to small m cross m. So it may be 200, 200. This may be less than that. Okay, so that is the purpose of the pooling. So this is the one stage of convolution operation. Usually the pooling operation will be performed after performing the convolution operation. So now we are going to see the actual architecture of the convolution operation. Right. So for sake of simplicity, I have taken the picture image with the 28 cross 28 matrix. So usually I say that I usually will be in the 200 size, will be more than 200, around 200. Okay, so sake of simplicity, I have taken 20 cross 28, 28 cross 28. So now I am going to apply the convolution. Okay, convolution 5 cross 5 matrix. So what does mean? So I have 3 color representation. Okay, corresponding to this 28 to 28, right? So I can say that input volume is 28 cross 28 cross 3. So the 3 represent RGP. Similarly, 5 cross 5. So this is a single filter matrix. So each filter has a distinct 3 colors. Okay, 3 color matrix size. So now first step will be convolving that. Then that will produce the first filter produce this feature map. So this is 28 cross 28. After performing this, we will get the result of 24 cross 24. 24 cross 24. Right. So there is actually, sorry for inconvenience in the screen. Actually, there is a glitches while writing the board. Sorry for the interruption. Okay. Now, what I have seen, only one filter we have applied, then we got one feature map. Like this, here we have applied 6 filters. Okay, then we have the 6 feature map. So first convolution layer use the 6 filter, the size of 5 cross 5. So 5 cross 5, actually you should say 5 cross 5 into 3. 3 represents corresponding each colors, right? Followed by 2 cross 2 pooling. So here the result, after getting the convolution result, we are applying the 2 cross 2 pooling. So while I'm saying this convolution operation, you have to think about all. It is first we are performing summation, then we are adding the bias, then we'll apply the activation function. So usually will be rectifier linear unit, rel unit will be applied. Then that will produce the size of then will produce a size of 20 cross 20. So there is no 3, there is no color representation over here. Since the color representation altogether will be summed up. So we'll have only one matrix corresponding to one filter weight. So how many feature map we have? 6 feature map. Each feature map size is 24 cross 24. Right. Now we are going to apply the pooling. So 2 cross 2. So obviously the stride will be in 2 step. So that we'll get the result of 12 cross 12. 12 cross 12 matrix. So the objective is to reduce the size of this matrix image file. Then we are going to apply the second convolution layer. This is the first layer. Up to this is the first convolution we have finished. Okay. So second convolution layer, what you are going to do? We are going to apply 12 filters. Here you should note down this. So it is not essential to apply same number of filters. You can go for any number of filters according to your design. You can go for any number of filters. So you can here we have applied 12 filters, the size of 5 cross 5. Here also is not restricted to use the 5 cross 5. You can use anything. You can use any values. So that should be a feasible one. So according to the size, it should be feasible one. Then followed by 2 cross 2 pooling. Right. Here they have not mentioned about stride and the zero padding. So stride is 1. You can assume that stride is 1. Then only we will get 24 cross 24 when you apply the convolution for 28 cross 28. Right. So second convolution layer uses the 12 filter. Each filter size is 5 cross 5. So there is no 3 over here. The first filter we had 3. Since the image file, it is going to process the raw input image file, so that contain RGB. So here there is no 3. So only 5 cross 5 matrix, 2-dimensional matrix. So that will produce a result of 8 cross 8, 12 cross 12. If you apply with, if you convert with the 5 cross 5 in the weight matrix, then we get the 8 cross 8. So since we have applied 12 filters, we will get the 12 feature map, right? So each feature map, the first stage each feature map will be converted with 12 filters. So 12 filters will be applied for each feature map arrived at the first convolution layer, right? So here we have to apply each 12. That's why it is connected. See here, this 12, all these 3 is connected to this one, the feature map, right? So feature map, we are getting 12 feature map. We got it here, 8 cross 8. Then we are going to apply the 2 cross 2 pooling. Then that will be resulting the 4 cross 4 matrix, 4 cross 4 matrix. So the final result. So we can go for another one. We can go for another convolution layer. It's up to you how much accuracy, how much depthness is required for the applications. So when you have the complicated network, complicated picture, then you should go for the high number of depth. Right. So next we should go for the flattening. We are doing the flattening. So this matrix should be represented as a single vector. Then only we can go for the fully connected network. The final stage, always we have the fully connected network. So that's why we are going to see here. So we had a 12 feature map. Each one size is 4 cross 4. So each pixel value is represented here. So that will give the value of intensity of this. Okay, this is a feature map. Okay, this is your feature map. So now is going to flatten. How will it be flattened? First 1 to 16. This 1 to 16 will be placed in the row column or a single column. Next, second matrix, then third matrix will be placed over here as a single column. Then fourth one like this. So I will have the total number of 192. 192, how it comes? 4 cross 4 into 16 plus 12, that will give 192. So now we have the 192 number of elements in a single column, right? Single column. So now we made is a single column representation, is known as flattening the data. Now after flattening the data, so it should be connected to the number of classes, that is output neurons. So output, this is output layer. The neurons in the output layer should be equal to number of classes for image classification function. So this number should be equal to number of classes, that number of images you want to classify. So here we have the fully connected network. Here we have a fully connected network. So it is very similar to the conventional neural network, that is artificial conventional neural network, that is a deep neural network, what you have seen in the beginning, right? So we'll have the same kind of operation over here. Then after performing this conversion, that is flattening and applying the fully connected network, we'll applying the softmax function. So what is the use of softmax function? So we are not going to doing any network processing over here. Just we are passing the data such a way that the result can be predicted effectively. So result may be visible for the users. So that's the objective of using this softmax function. So what you are going to do, it is the map. It maps the output to normalized probability distribution, representing the probability of appearance in the class. So we have, if for example, we have 10 number of classes. Okay, images given here. So that is processed. Finally, it is reaching the 10 number of classes. Then we will apply the softmax function. So this is a softmax function. The exponential of each value. So we have the each value over here. This value, x value, will be applied. So there is what you are getting here, that will be applying the exponential function divided by sum of this exponential from all values will be applied here. So that gives the probability value. So which has a high probability corresponding to the classification, image classification. So now we can see the example over here. So here the deep convolutional neural network are applied for classification function. So the fully connected network has the value of this one. 3.32, 1.3, 0.2, 0.8. Now our job is to which one has a high value, which one has the high value. So 3 point, you know that 3.2. So other one is a medium value, right? 1.2 is the mid of all value. These are two values, we can neglect it. But there is a confusion whether this belongs to first class or second class of object. So there may be a confusion. If you apply this software function, you may get the clear picture. You can see that. So this software function gives the value corresponding to 3.1 is 0.775. So second one is 0.116. So then third one is 0.039, another one is 0.070. So now you can find the distinct difference between these two values. But here you may get confusion, right? So this is the object you are applying the software function. So usually the software function will be applied when you have the classification function with multiple classes, more than two classes. So if you have only two classes, either this or that, then it's not required to apply the software function. So when you have more than two classes, then you have to use software function so that we have the probability of the classes, with which it belongs to, So the first one is dog. This corresponding to the first class, this belongs to dogs. This to cat and horse, cheetah. Right. So actually, image is given is dog. That's why we are getting high probability over here. Usually, this software function will be comes along with the class entropy function. So class entropy function is actually dual function of this software function. So that is inverse of, we can say the inverse of the software function. So what we have here, exponential function, that is we are applying here logarithmic function. So when you apply the logarithmic function, so that will be the loss function. So how much error how much error it has, the classification error, that is probability error. So it has the 0.75. Okay, it has the 0.16. Here we don't have a clear picture. Here you got some almost somewhat clear picture for classification. So next stage, the loss function, we apply the class entropy that will give the error in the right value, which can be used for training purpose. So software function is exponential function. The cost function. Okay, cost function has the element of natural argument, provide the inverse of this software function. So now you can see that this is a software function. So this is what we got a result. So from this we know that so it is a high probability. We can say that it belongs to first class. Similarly, this is a target. Target is 1000. So now we can calculate the error. Between what we'll do, actually we'll calculate the error between these two values and these two values. That error will be used to train the neural network, right? The back propagation network. So that's what is given here. So now if you apply loss function, the class entropy function, so this is the target. Okay, this is the target. Then what is the result you got in the software function? That will be applied the logarithmic base 2. Then we can apply the H1. So this remaining class is 0, then it doesn't have any weightage. You can neglect this one. So if you apply this one, we get the value of 0.367. So this will give the value of loss function, that is how much error it has, the probability how much error it has. Okay. Now let us see another example. For example, the target for the corresponding output, the target is say here in another case, the target is same. The corresponding software function is different, 0.938, 0.938, 0.028, 0.013. 0.023, right? So now the corresponding target is 1000, right? So now you can apply this loss function. You get a clear picture how much error you have in the probability, 0.095. You can see that error 0.095 is very less, right? So this much correction we have to do. We get the idea, only this much correction we have to do at the weight adjustment. So here we can see that this much correction we have to do that in the weight matrix. So let us take another example. Here this value is same, but the target is different. For example, target is different. If you calculate the class function, you can see that this one will be large value. This will be lowest value. So this into this, log of this value into this value 0. So log of this value into this one is 0. Log of this value into 1 will give the 6.26. 6.26 minus, actually minus this one, again you have minus, so that will be plus. Okay, 6.26. So this much probable error we have, this much error we have at the output. So we have to do the adjustment according to this quantity. So that is the use of the cross entropy function at the final stage. Usually this convolution neural network will be using software function and convolution the cross entropy function at the end for classification purpose. Right. So this is what the overall structure of the convolution neural network. So 28 cross 28. So first one, these things we have discussed. So we had a 2 layer of convolution function. Then we have the fully connected network. This has 192 neurons. After stretching it, actually flattening, we will get 192 neural network. Then we have a 10 neurons in the output layer. So we have fully connected network over here. So, okay. Then we will have the softmax function. So applying softmax function and the cross entropy will not be represented the different layer. So that will be applied in the same node, same neuron. So that will not be considered as a different layer. Right. So now we can go for this training. So what is the training algorithm? We will be using the same back propagation algorithm. So while applying the back propagation algorithm, we should remember that that is index for the maximum activation function. Will a pooling operation perform? Then we have to track the pooling of where the pooling operation perform. So if you apply the maximum functions, so you'll be using the gradient descent function to evaluate this error. So which will be propagated from the backward direction, so that we can tune the weight in order to obtain the 0 error. Right. So now we are going for the pre-trained CNN model. So these are the pre-trained models available in the net. You can download from the net, or recent and the MATLAB version has the networks. So first one is LEN network. LENNet, it was invented in 1998. So it is applied for banks to recognize the handwritten numbers on check. So digitized will be scanning the amount which is written in the checkbook. That will be represented 32 cross 32 pixel grayscale. Grayscale means only black and white. Black and white input image process. There is no color presentation. So the next one is Alex network. It was developed in 2012. So it is processing the color picture, which produce the error rate from 26% to 15.3%. The other one is JeffNet, was developed in 2013. So these are the network won the competition. Actually, the competition will be conducted yearly once. So they have won the competition. So JeffNet won the competition in 2018, so 13 with the error rate of 14.8. You can note that's a reduction in the error, right? So in 2014, you can find the significant reduction in the error. 6.3 is done by the Google. Okay, the network name is Inception. So then actually this is developed in 2014. Now it's actually developed in the higher version. So that will be used to recognize the nearly 1,000 images. So what are the real-time pictures we have seen? That is cat, animal, and house, all those things. Okay. Then ResNet. So it is developed by Yahoo. It is developed in 2015. It has an error rate of 3.57%. So error rate is decreased drastically, right? But the network's dimensions increase in large scale. The trained neural networks available for any users. You can download the trained network and you can apply for your own problems. So the trained, why you can use the trained network? The structure is defined. Then the initial value will be having something, right, which is related to some image processing. So they'll be easy to process with pre-trained network. So you can use the pre-trained network in order to train your own. So application, as far as the CNN application, so it mostly used for image recognition and image natural language handwritten processing for text classification. Another one is signal analysis. So it is the extension of this image process, signal process applied. So it applied for widely these following areas. One is self-driving cars, robotics, drones, security, medical diagnosis. It's widely used for medical diagnosis and etc. So now let us see some examples where he applied, where the CNNs were applied. So first one is the first example, identification of cough detection. So automated cough detection. So usually patient will come and tell you the doctor what the cough symptoms. So doctor will try to interpret the intensity of the cough. So how much severity it has. But the patient may not be remember all those things since he may be a work conscious. So he may not remember all those things. He may not recall all and we may not convey the message. So people what they have done, they have fit the sensor in the human near to lungs. So that will record the cough signal as an electrical signal. So it will be stored in the small piece, a chip. Then later it will be given to the computer. Then it can be processed. Okay. So wearable sensor. So usually they use a piezo sensor or microphone. You can use either microphone or piezo sensor. So here the picture is given. So the first one is actually this is a cough. This is a cough. Period. This is the speaking. When I speak, I will get the audio signal like this. So this is related to the cough. So this signal can be obtained from the microphone or piezo sensor. So that will be processed further. So first will be processed further using the short time Fourier transform. When you apply the short time Fourier transform, so actually it is a single dimensional, right? Single dimensional time series signal, right? Time series signal. So then CNN cannot be applied. So CNN, if you want to apply CNN, so it should be a structured array arrangement, right? Structured array arrangement like matrix form. So what you have to do, you have to apply a short time Fourier transform so that we'll get the magnitude corresponding to the each frequency component and the time scale. So when you apply the short time Fourier transform, we'll get this frequency and the time scale representation. So energy will be represented corresponding to each frequency and the time frame, that is known as spectrogram. So that will be represents the picture. So the energy level will be represented as a picture. You can see that intensity. So if it is red color, then intensity high. If it is blue, then intensity is low. So like that, color will represent that intensity of this energy. So then we can process as an image file. So it has a 64 rows in the frequency spectrum in the rows, okay, and 16 time interval. So now we can apply the filters like filter map like 9x3. So that we'll get the result of 56x14. Then we can apply the pooling function. Then we'll have the second convolution stage, that is where we are applying the 5x3 convolution operation. So that we'll get 24 into 12. Then we can apply the pooling 2x1. So here you can see that the dimension in the row and columns are different, and each filter matrix as well as pooling matrix are different. So then finally we are getting 12x12 matrix there. Okay, that will be stretched as a single vector like flattening sort of operation. Then we have the fully connected network. Then we have the classifier. Classifier means that the softmax function will be applied over here. So it's a one way of signal processing application. The other way is what we have tried. Okay, so I have applied for this one for signal processing. So one of the application is the electrical engineering. It's a core problem of electrical engineering, that is power transformer differential protection. Usually the differential protection applied for power transformer as a main protection. So it has a challenge of distinguish between the interest current and the internal fault current. So it's difficult to classify. In the conventional method, we are using the second harmonics blocking method, so that we can discriminate the internal fault and interest current, but it has some limitation. The accuracy level is limited maximum up to 76%. So in order to make it as a maximum percentage of accuracy, so many method has been proposed. So we have tried with this one. So what we have done, application of the neural network, that is in a conventional neural network, by modifying this structure completely. We have modified according to the signal processing. So first stage, we have applied the wavelet transformation technique. So wavelet transformation technique result will not be equal in size, row as well as column. So each row, that is each frequency components, okay, will be different. Okay, will be different. So for example, so the D4, we have the D4 over here. The D4 means detail coefficient 4th level. So it has the 16 number of time interval. So 5th row has the 12, the 6th and D6 and A6 has the 10 time interval. So each has the distinct time interval. Okay. But the row number is also different. So what I have applied, first we have applied the convolution in the time scale. Then we have applied the convolution in the frequency scale. Then we got the single flattened one matrix that will be given to the fully connected network. Finally, be able to apply this classifier, okay, at the final stage. So the final output will be either trip or restraint. That is whether it is corresponding to the interest current or internal fault current. So we can make any kind of data into structured form, then we can apply. This is the logic. So we can apply the convolutional neural network. So these are my reference has been referred for my lecture. So thank you for patient listening. So now I'd like to go for a question hour session. So if you have any doubt, you can discuss now.
Participant, if you have any query, you may unmute your mic and you may ask directly to the speaker, or you may type your query in the chat box. Is anybody having any query? Participants, please feel free to ask your doubts. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your feedback, participants. We will definitely share the PPTs. I have also uploaded the materials in Atal portal. You can also refer from that. I'll share it in the group also. And Sandil Kumar sir, on behalf of all the participants, I thank for a wonderful presentation. We got many ideas about this special neural network, that is deep learning neural network. Thank you for your elaborate introduction about this neural network, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for giving me opportunity to deliver the lecture. I'd like to thank my faculty, Nanamal madam and Venkatesan sir, for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Yes, we are also proud to say that Sandil Kumar sir, who is now working in NIT, is our alumni. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
I thank all the participants for your patient listening. We will meet again at 2 o'clock. I request all of you, please attend all the sessions. Please attend entire duration. Please be connected in the line. So your attendance is recorded and it will be uploaded in Atal portal. Apart from that, a reviewer is also allocated for this session. So he is monitoring our sessions. So please attend the sessions punctually and attend the entire session also. Thank you, participants, and thank you for your query. If you have any other query, you can also give it in the WhatsApp group. So may feel free to contact us through phone or through WhatsApp or through the chat box in the meeting link. Thank you once again. We will meet at 2 o'clock. Thank you all.